This is AdrianneHanninen's Science Notebook for EDEL443. So, Unit 1 was Inquiry and the Science Process. And in this one, I took my video notes and reflections, and then my biggest takeaway from Unit 1 was the inquiry process skills, the I can statements. So I took a copy of this so that I could have it when I'm writing future lesson plans. Unit 2 was the inquiry vocabulary lesson, and in this lesson, I did 3 activities. I roasted marshmallows with my son, and then I did a circumference activity with my daughter, and a classifying beans activity with a group of students, 5th grade students, and did the Freyer model with them to learn the word property. Unit 3 is engage. And in Unit 3, we talked about active engagement and guiding questions. So I printed out a copy of the guiding questions, and I have been using that in my lessons and when I'm thinking about where I can ask questions and ways that I can ask questions that are more open-ended and not yes or no, or not trying to make the student read my mind, because I know I do find that a lot of times I'll back myself into a corner to where they're trying to guess what I'm thinking, and I don't mean to do that to them. So I printed out the guided questions so that I can take the time to really ask the right questions, the most effective questions for getting to promote that deeper thinking. I also printed out the Google list of all of the resources for inquiry science activities. Then Unit 5 is explain, and in this unit my biggest takeaway was the science in a box, and really getting that family and parent engagement activity in there, and to think about like how we would do things to send this home with students. I also printed out the 25 ways to teach without talking as part of this unit, just to have as a resource when I'm planning lessons, not just in science, but in everything that I teach. And I was actually pleasantly surprised that I do quite a bit of this already, like the class brainstorm and flow charts and diagrams. Okay, then for Unit 6 was elaborate. And in this one, I printed out the strategies for student engagement, and just so that I had them handy. Turn to your neighbor is one that I do all the time, almost every day. Or actually, I probably do it every single day. Okay. Then we also did the tic-tac-toe. And for that one, I chose 6 engagement strategies to use. I also chose the concept wheel to watch the video. And then my most valuable thing that I took from this was the interview questions, and I did it a little different. Instead of sitting one-on-one with 4 different students, I took my whole class and talked through it, and then we had a discussion, and they each got to tell me how they were feeling. And I just thought it was a really good way to get to know the students and to get to know what they like. And it was interesting to read like what they were frustrated about, and ways that they thought that teachers respect them. It was eye-opening. I liked it a lot. Then this week we also did a lesson where we filled out the 5E, explain and elaborate, and I did the balloon blow up with my class, and they had so much fun. They had seen it before. I had done a demonstration of it, so they kind of knew what was coming, but that didn't curb their enthusiasm at all. They had a blast. Then week 7 was evaluate, and that was the lesson that I videotaped and submitted. And we did a lesson on measuring the mass of apples and identifying the physical characteristics of matter. And it was the first time that the students got to use, most of them had ever used a triple beam balance. And they really liked it. Like, you could tell they kind of made them feel more like scientists. And then I used the concept map as my summative assessment, which I had gotten the week before from the tic-tac-toe. So I was really glad that I had found it on there, because it worked really well for a summative assessment on what they learned. 5 things. They had to fill in 5 things that they knew about matter. So I was really happy with how that turned out. And I just kept like 4 samples of student work for each thing. Then this week is on differentiating instruction. And I was really surprised about stress and how much stress affects the learning environment that students are in. So my goal for this week, my biggest takeaway, is to not let my stress, the pressure that I feel to get through lessons and be on track, to affect the students, to make it more centered around them, because that's what it's really about. I enjoyed going back through my notebook and to make sure that I had everything, and that I had it all explained and in order. I really noticed that my reflections got deeper and more personalized as I went along, and I'm excited to show my students this notebook, because I have them keep a science notebook in class currently, and I always tell them that the things that I have them do because it will benefit them, that it's not a waste of time, that it's a resource, and that it's what scientists do, it's what engineers do. And so I'm hoping if I can take mine in and they can see that I don't only just say it, but I do it too, that hopefully they'll see that as a positive model, and that will reflect in their notebook keeping.